Huh. So, I don't know if anybody can see me yet, and we're going to get to the title. We're going to get to Bernie Sanders. We're going to get to all that stuff. We're going to get to the demons exposed in Colorado. But, like, this little block, this little walk, and by the way, good morning, everybody. Karma says good morning. Also happens to be um, the home of the office of State Senator James Seward. Okay? James Seward is a Republican, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the building I just passed next to Seward's office had the Oneonta PD and the detective dusting it for prints. Let's see if this guy's gonna speed right into me. Hopefully not. Thanks, buddy. Oh, you gotta love America. But yeah, so let me just say that again. I just walked past the state senator's office, and the door next to it, which I'm not sure houses anything, appeared to have been broken into somehow because it was getting dusted for prints by my local police. So breaking news on the Info Warrior. All right, so I was going to talk about another huge admission after a paper comes out that, yeah, monsters walk among us, and organized religion has been one of the largest tools to abuse children in history, in our lifetimes. And now in Colorado, we have 70 years of abuse. Let me repeat that. 70 years of abuse being exposed. You know, within the last year, I've talked about Pennsylvania. I've talked about Baltimore. I've warned you that this is more than just these cities and urban areas. This is a global network, and it's been going on for a very long time. This has also been happening at universities, places of power where individuals are vulnerable because they have none. Those are the people that are targeted in most of these cases. That's the reality. So again, I'll say it again, we have more and more people coming forward, telling the truth about the priests, the cardinals, etc., that abuse them. And again, it's not just the Catholics. You know, you can look at mosques, you can look at cathedrals, you can look at synagogues. And unfortunately, at the top of some of these organizations are the most demonic types of predators you could ever imagine. And you know, I was talking about this today, kind of a microcosm of the situation with McGregor, with my friend. I said, look, you know, I obviously am not going to stand for what Connor has done. I think the brutal beating, rape, and sodomy of a woman is a horrific crime, right? But we have to understand, for real, there are demons out there that sit, you know, come on, Carmen, if you're just going to sniff, we got to go. That sit in power today, that have sat in power, that wear suits and ties, that confirmed are serial child molesters. Confirmed. Okay, let's talk about Dennis Hassard. He's a confirmed serial child predator by a judge. He has never served a day of his life in a jail cell for any of those crimes, ever. And he helped protect other predators like Tom Foley. All right? And they're on the Republican end of the spectrum. And by the way, that spectrum's a fake spectrum. So now let's talk about some Democrats that are walking around today that have multiple offenses. Anthony Weiner is walking around today, and guess what? You know, no big deal. He's going to get in the legal marijuana business. It doesn't matter that he produced CP, according to documents. It doesn't matter that most of the real details of that 15-year-old girl he was Skyping with were obfuscated. It doesn't matter that his laptops, emails with anything CC'd to his wife or Hillary Clinton or associates were protected and never even looked at. Geez, Wonder if there could have been more stuff on that. And so let's move on. Again, we might do a full video on the monsters among us, talking about that Colorado situation with the horrific details. But let's move on to Bernie Sanders. There's been a lot of talk all of a sudden because Bernie Sanders says if he gets in office, he would sign into law a bill protecting whistleblowers. Well, I'll just say this, Bernie. What took so long to take the side of Julian Assange? Are you going to be vocal about this in the next debate? Are you going to talk about the fact he should not be extradited here? Are you going to be talking about the fact that he's basically been imprisoned in a tiny room and building for almost a decade, that he's been physically and mentally tortured? You're going to talk about those, Big Bern? Huh? Because Gabbard was talking about those kind of things already. And, I read some of the comments. If you haven't seen, I recently, this morning, did a video on Edward Snowden and his recent appearance on Rogan. And I will say one of the very valid criticisms in there is look at the difference between how Edward Snowden has been treated and how Julian Assange has been treated. It is. And listen, it's not like I trust Snowden, but watch my video on that, and I think it's a good critique. Someone pointed out that even the Hollywood movies about each of them take very, very different tones. I've got to admit, I have not seen either film on Snowden or Assange. If you guys have, let me know in the comments whether, one, they're even worth looking at, or two, if you felt that they were portrayed in a separate and different manner. I'll say this, when there are real whistleblowers out there, it does seem that it crosses over from administration to administration, and they are, persecuted. They're ruined in the public eye. They try to discredit everything about them. And look, Snowden made that point in the Rogan interview. Snowden made the point that, AT&T and other telecommunication companies had been keeping records since the mid-'80s. There's a lot of things that were confirmed on that. Although, Joe Rogan was essentially a passenger. I'd be surprised if Rogan in that 2-hour and 49-minute piece got more than 10 minutes of talk time. 15 would be max. But it's up for you guys to check that information out. I think it's so telling that, somebody like Bernie couldn't stand up to Hillary Clinton, that he hasn't been speaking about this stuff, that it's almost like he's been pushed into this because Tulsi Gabbard has gained such a following with all of her flaws. And boy, oh boy, there are plenty of flaws, and people don't like when I point out both sides of the issue, but I'm going to continue to point out both sides of the issue. Life is full of gray matter. Come on, no grass eating, Karma. No. My dog keeps trying to eat that grass and hang out. My lady. Come on, Carm. Oh, all right. I'm going to wrap it up. Guys, if you don't know, my dog has now been 10 weeks since she got the diagnosis for osteosarcoma. I was told that she had 2 to 8 weeks to live, and she's doing really good. For those that know, I had her on 2 medications that they gave me for a couple days. She'd been on Proin prior to that. Karma, baby. She'd been on Proin prior to that. I took her off of that when I did this, and then they gave me basically dope meds for her to die. Basically said, hey, call us and when we have to make that decision, etc. And I put her on the Joe Tippins. That's mycancerstory.rocks. And for those that don't know, that is fenbenzidol, aka the dewormer that you can get for very cheap over the counter. Panicer C and ProSense are 2 different brands of it. She's on CBD. I got it from Honest Pods. I got the highest grade I could. I got turmeric curcumin. Who's smiling, baby? You want to smile for the audience? Yeah! Turmeric curcumin and vitamin E. Now, I also add D-manus in there, which is like an extract from cranberry to make sure she doesn't get any UTIs. And every once in a while, I pop some niacin pills in there too. I don't feed her dog food. She eats what I eat, but mostly, you know, I throw eggs on top of it. By the way, only 16 thumbs up, 60 something watching. Can we get a thumbs up for a morning walk for Karma? For my little baby lady? That being said, guys, hopefully you're subscribed. If you're not, now's the time to join the Burmese Brigade. Check out the videos I put out there. And Peter Dale Scott, I thought he was going to be 11 a.m. Eastern. Turns out it's 11 a.m. Pacific. So I got a little more time to prepare. That'll be 2 p.m. Eastern. The godfather of the term deep state, of deep politics, parapolitics. Really looking forward to that. If you want to support me, I got to GoFundMe. You can share my stuff. You can do a lot of things to help me out. Mostly share the information. Mostly get the word out. And with that being said, I love you. And Karma and I will see you on the flip side.